Good evening, everybody. It's 11:31 p.m., 8/22/2023. I'm recording now for the second time because one of my phone alarms went off and just pretty much stopped my recording. So I'm recording this all over again. I want to address a very important issue and read you a letter, and I welcome your questions and comments, but I want to resolve this issue once and for all. Please hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, gets the message out there, combats the algorithms and the perpetrators that are intentionally downvoting the video. So this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Welcome newcomers. Welcome back to my channel for all those people who subscribe. And thank you all for your questions and comments about the guinea that was killed and all the animals that have been killed here recently and how horrific it's been. I really do appreciate it. It's been rough. Anyway, now this is an important issue, and I want to discuss it. But before I read it, I want to say I'm only going to address this once. I don't like talking about people. I certainly don't like discussing them in a public forum like this, but it deserves repeating. It deserves being spoken about. And hey, if Candace Owen can speak out against celebrities, I can speak out against an alleged targeted person. Okay? I don't deal with abusive people that gaslight me, that ghost me, that are passive aggressive. I mean, you all should know me by now. I'm pretty direct. I say what's on my mind, and I speak the truth. I'm not going to lie about something, and I'm not going to lie to you. So I'm going to read to you a letter, an email, that I received May 25, 2023, from Jeff, the American Guinea Pig Cash Cow. Because all of you people have been asking, well, what happened to Jeff? Where did he go? How come he didn't stay there? Well, I'll read this letter to you, and then I will go into the details. Some details. Not all of it. You don't need to know all of it. But this is basically in response to his latest video where he talks about how he was treated like a subhuman, and it was extreme. The subject heading is thanks. Dear Lorraine, thank you for your exceptional hospitality. Belle and I are taking advantage of our wakefulness to continue our aimless journey through this grand country. You aren't awake yet. We've been finding it difficult to stay active with the electronic torture your perps have going on here. It's 3 times as bad as we experienced in Crescent City. Yesterday, I couldn't even get her to jump in the creek. All she wanted to do was climb back up the hill and take a nap. Even your chickens failed to entice her. As you know, I've already paid $150 for utilities. If I end up owing more, you will be sure to say so, and I'll settle up with a check in the mail. You were a great host. Jeff. And I just want to comment on his comment here, that the electronic torture that my perps have going on is 3 times as bad that he experiences in California. I need to address that 2 ways. If that's true, then my targeting is literally off the charts. Because if he's experiencing 3 times more, that means that I am experiencing it at least 3 times more. Now, when he lived in Crescent City, from what I understand, he lived on a houseboat. That means that he was living on water, and water is protective. Okay, so that would make a huge difference. Okay, so I'm going to read to you my response. So sorry to hear about the electronic torture being worse here. I am certain it was intentional, as your being here upsets their agenda. This is the case I have heard where other targeted people attempt to meet up for long periods of time. Also, I believe the smart meter was too close to your van. I kept urging him actually to park away from the smart meter. I felt that the smart meter was affecting him. Living near water is protective. I noticed you were not outside for the past 2 days, and I was up and down various times of the day, meaning that he was on top of the hill and I'm on the bottom in the valley, in the village. It appears as if you were avoidant, so perhaps you were mostly asleep inside. Bella probably didn't want to go in the creek because the landscaper weeded the surrounding weeds that fell into the creek. I had to clean it out over the past 2 days, and it is not finished yet. It takes a long time. I'm glad you enjoyed your stay and had the chance to see this part of the country. It was good to meet you and Bella, who is such a sweet dog. I am also glad that you witnessed the perp behavior around here. It is validating. I thought you might stay through Memorial Day. Stay safe on the road. Best regards. Okay, so I'm going to read his email again, and then I'm going to play his video. Dear Lorraine, thank you for your exceptional hospitality. We've been finding, I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm just going to read the front. Thank you for your exceptional hospitality. And then the last sentence is, you were a great host. Okay, let's fast forward to his latest video called Blocking the Gossip, a Suspicious Chevy. So evidently, and this has been happening to me too, so I'm sure people have been commenting to him, commenting to me, because everybody knows that he visited me. And of course, a lot of targeted people are always curious. What was she like? What was he like? What is it like meeting a targeted person in person? Were you as targeted? Everybody's got a lot of different questions about that. Like, did your targeting stop? Did it amp up? Like, what happened? Why didn't he stay longer? What's the deal? I received the same questions and comments, mostly privately. And I responded mostly privately to the people that contacted me. It was deeply disturbing that a grown man split without saying goodbye, holed himself up for 2 days beforehand. It's very passive-aggressive. Very passive-aggressive and somewhat abusive. So I'm going to read, and confusing as well. I'm a very direct person. And there were a couple of things that happened here that were very bizarre. 2 in particular. And one, I'm sure that upset him to the point where he is projecting this BS onto me. And I'm just going to play it for you, and you can decide for yourself. I'm not asking anybody to take sides. I just want you to understand what happened, and you can decide for yourself. Again, it's not about taking sides. It's not about me against him. I'm just going to speak the truth about this, and I don't want to talk about it again. I'm not even going to respond to anybody's comments. If you email me privately, that's one thing. But if you want to comment down below, that's fine. I'll click a thumbs up or a heart or whatever. But this is going to be the end of this conversation. Okay? So here you go, folks. This is what he has to say. This is his perception. Okay? And now I just read you his letter, which was a couple of days after he left. Right? But this is what he has to say in response to somebody who's been commenting on his videos and asking him questions likely about me. And he's not using my name. He knows that if he uses my name, it's going to be a problem because I will be all over him. But it doesn't matter because he's full of shit. Okay? I'm going to say it flat out. So here we go, folks.
Krishna wrote this message on my YouTube channel, then went on to say how I had stopped all contact with a certain TI that he or she knows. I'm not going to give the name of that person. It's irrelevant.
Well, it is relevant. And everybody knows that Jeff the American guinea pig cash cow, not only split from here without saying goodbye. That email that I read to you was a couple of days old. And holds himself up in his RV for 2 days even before. So that is a total of 3 days where he ghosted himself, okay? So he's not saying he or she. This is like all passive aggressive BS, okay? So this is what he has to say.
Well, yes, that ITC, I believe this person is a legitimately watch-listed person. That ITC treated me like less than a human being. I mean, it was extreme. And I'm not going to tell the story.
I'm going to tell the story. Did you hear what he said? Treated him like not a human being, and it was extreme. I'm going to tell you how extreme it was, how I treated him. And then I'll explain to you a couple of the things that he did here that were not only alarming, but also overstepped the boundaries of what a guest should be doing at someone else's house. Okay? Now, mind you, we're meeting for the first time. I mean, I've had other targeted people here that I've known for a long time who have visited. Okay? I didn't know them from a YouTube channel. I knew them from communicating on the phone, being on conference calls literally for years, and then finally meeting, okay? It takes a long time to get to know someone. This is how extreme my treating him as a subhuman was. First off, he shows up a day late. No phone call, no nothing. Now, you have to understand, I live on a farm. I work my butt off here all day long. I've got animals, cats, chickens, guineas, perpetrators, mail, grass to cut, weeds, gardens to till, and I mean all kinds of stuff, okay? The list is endless. You could only know by sitting on a porch nearby and watching me for 7 days. You'd be exhausted, okay? You would just totally be exhausted. So he shows up a day late. Now, I had, made myself look nice. I put makeup on. Usually I'm a hot mess. This is why I don't photograph myself. I'm a hot mess. I'm working on a farm. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. I've got my hair pulled back. No makeup on. Not like New Jersey. So, I get dressed up nicely. I put on makeup. And I'm intentionally not working the farm. Not doing things around here. I had actually hired a couple of people to help me clean out my garage. I was helping them a little bit and just waiting for him to arrive. I figured, maybe he'll be here by noon and we'll prepare lunch or something. Or maybe we'll have a midday lunch or brunch or whatever. No show, no call. Calls around 8 p.m. He's a half an hour from me, but he drove past me. But he didn't call, so he decides to stay where he is and show up the next day. Again, the next day he does not call. I don't know when he's showing up. I see some man walking in the back of my property, and it turns out to be him. Okay, we're going to fast forward, folks. So, this is Lorraine. I'm like this with everybody. I'm an extremely generous person. So, I give him fresh farm eggs where he can have them every day. I gave him like a bag full of treats, including, oatmeal and granola bars and an apple and all these things, maybe an orange or something. I don't remember exactly. I show him where water is. I told him I have an outbuilding, so he was using the outbuilding, which he really liked. And showed him where the electricity was, the internet, all that stuff. He decided to park on my driveway, not perpendicular, horizontal to the driveway, meaning the driveway is on an incline. It's like a hill, and he's parked on the hill rather than perpendicular where he would be facing the garage. Not facing the garage, yeah, like towards the garage where he would be away from the smart meter. And he'd have a different angle. So he chose to park that way. He at least once asked me if he could tie his RV to one of my trees. I said, well, why would you want to do that? He said, well, my brakes aren't that good, and I've got to get them checked. I've got to get them, got to go to a repair place. I said, well, why didn't you do that before you got here? You travel across the country. That's pretty alarming that you have non-working brakes. He's now parked on my driveway with 2 blocks under his tires, and I'm thinking, this is a liability for me. He could slide down my driveway if his brakes are not working. He could crash down the driveway. He could crash into a building. He could crash into the creek. And he wants to tie his RV a couple of tons to a tree? No, that wasn't going to happen. I said, no, I'm sorry. No. Yeah. I did very much appreciate that he worked in my garden. I did not ask him to do that. He offered to do that. He offered to pull the weeds and help pull, put in, some of the stones that I had on the side. And he did a wonderful job, and I very much appreciate it. And Bella is an adorable dog. So I had dog food for Bella. I purchased the dog food beforehand. And then the perps, of course, bought Bella treats. So Bella had treats, and I gave him canned dog food and dry dog food. So Bella was all set. So I was fairly generous. And then, of course, I had made homemade split pea soup, and I gave him some of that. And then I made a homemade huge egg frittata with vegetables and onions and garlic and all kinds of stuff. And I gave him half of that. I also bought like a cinnamon cake, and I gave him part of the cinnamon cake. So I treated him so badly, like subhuman. It was extreme. What was extreme was that he'd asked if he could help cut my grass. And I said, well, I'm going to be interviewing a new landscaper because the old landscaper was just charging me too much money. And he also ended up getting a full-time job, so he could only do it, part of the time. And I needed somebody to be on a regular basis. So I found somebody, and I liked this person, and they were going to work for me. And they're still working here. They're great. So Jeff said, well, I can help cut the grass. And I said, well, I'm interviewing new people. I'll let you know. He says, well, do you have a lawnmower? I said, well, of course I do. Like, I've got a lot of lawnmowers. I've got one up here that I brought from New Jersey that's perfectly clean. It was totally drained, never used, whatever. Well, the new landscaper shows up. I tell Jeff in the morning, you don't have to cut the grass. I've got the new guy starting, and he'll be cutting up here. Okay, so the new guy comes. He's literally working here all day, because the grass was so overgrown, all those fields and stuff. Literally, he was here from like mid-afternoon all night. He didn't leave until like 9:30 at night. So later in the day, I don't know if it was 5 or 6, or I don't remember what time it was, and I didn't save the text message. I received a text message from Jeff. I can't get the lawnmower to work. I put gas in the mower and it won't start, and my hand is falling off. I said, I texted him back. I said, what are you talking about? What lawnmower? He said, the lawnmower in the garage. I said, what? I said, that's my lawnmower, like from New Jersey. that was totally clean. I said, I told you in the morning I didn't need you to cut the grass. I have a new guy starting. I said, and besides the fact that you would have needed to add oil to that mower. And I said, and where did you get the gas? I said, I don't have any gas up there. And he says, well, I asked, I'm not going to mention the name of the guy who was working here, help him and his mom are helping me clean out my garage. He said, I asked him if there's any gas here. And he looked around the garage and found some and gave it to me. Help me put it in. I said, what? I said, do you have any idea how old that gas probably is? I said, if you found gas in that garage, I'm living here 4 years. I don't know how long that gas has been there. It was by the former owner. I was furious. And this is all text message. Then he calls me on the phone. I said, well, I told you in the morning that I didn't need you to cut the grass. I'm hiring a new guy. I said, and that mower, I mean, you might have ruined my lawnmower. I said, I don't know. He said, well, I'll take the gas out. And I'm like thinking, I cannot believe this is happening. This is so perp-like. That somebody who shows up to visit me goes into my garage, takes my lawnmower without my permission, doesn't tell me about it, doesn't ask me where there's gas, asks a worker on my property, who's just working here and looking around. He doesn't know what's going on. He found a gas can in the corner of the garage and fills up my clean, drained lawnmower that I was considering selling without my permission, and then doesn't even put oil in it. I don't know how many times he tried to start it with that old gas without oil for him to have said, I feel like my arm is breaking off. Okay, so sure, I was angry. I was pissed off. Why? Okay, a couple of reasons. One, I specifically told him in the morning he did not need to cut the grass. I hired somebody new. I'm going to see how it works out. 2, he went into my garage and got my lawnmower without my permission. All he had to do is call me, text me, or walk a few steps down and say, hey, Lorraine, I'm thinking about cutting the grass. You want to help me find the lawnmower? Nope. He didn't do that. He goes and talks to one of my workers. Okay, I have a problem with this. The worker does not work for Jeff. The worker works for me and probably thought he was doing something good. And I did discuss it with him, and all was well with me and the worker. But Jeff seems to have a problem in being entitled to do whatever he felt like doing without experiencing the consequences of his actions. So basically, he didn't like the fact that I spoke up to him, that I told him that what he did was wrong, that he overstepped the boundaries. And the fact that we don't even know how old the gas is and the damage that it could have done to my lawnmower, it baffled the mind. I can't even imagine me going to somebody else's house, right? I'm visiting somebody that I've never met before. met on the internet, invited over, hanging out on the property. I'm a guest at somebody else's house. I offer to help. I would never go into somebody else's garage and take out anything that belonged to that person, alter it without their permission, without asking and telling them first. That's just me. That's just me. But no, he thought it was okay. Thought it was okay to do that. And when I got angry over it, he thought that was off the top. It was off the top to tell him that it was wrong, that he shouldn't have done it. I was pissed. My being pissed off didn't last long, though, because that's the way I am. But he felt it was over the top. In fact, he told me, no one has ever treated me like that before. Well, you could hear it for yourself from him. I think he over-exaggerates, folks. I treated him like a subhuman, and it was extreme. No, folks. What's extreme is being a guest on somebody else's property and asking them if they could tie their RV to your tree because they haven't fixed their brakes yet and they're afraid it's going to roll away. Extreme is having your dog poop all over somebody else's property and my having to ask him if he could pick it up after several days. He just felt entitled. Extreme is going into somebody's garage, pulling out their lawnmower without their permission, asking a worker where there's gas, the worker not knowing, because he's a worker, he thinks, well, he doesn't know the gas is old, fills up the lawnmower, he doesn't know, he's thinking it's okay. He's thinking Lorraine okayed it all. No, Lorraine never okayed it all. He took it upon himself to do whatever he pleased. Very perp-like behavior. And I'm going to just say perp-like. Because at this point, I don't know what he is. I don't really care. I will not be watching his videos anymore. And I will not be making any more videos about him. But I want people to know what really happens, okay? I welcomed this person to my property. I'm a female welcoming a male here. Anything could have happened. No, there was no sexual attraction on my part, I can assure you right now. That wasn't on my mind before, and it wasn't on my mind during or after. I was just looking to make a friend of a targeted person experiencing the same stuff. Well, obviously we're not experiencing the same stuff. He said it himself. His targeting was 3 times worse here in remote rural Kentucky than when he lived in California. Maybe he's not as targeted as he thinks he is. Or maybe mine's just extreme. But I will tell you what is extreme. Not the way I treated him. The way he treated me. Just a projection. That's what happens when you're raised by 2 narcissists. This is what he claims. This is what he told me. His father was a narcissist. His brother was a narcissist. They're both dead. Never talked about his mother. And you know what? I don't like bringing up this stuff. But listen, I've studied psychology most of my life. You're raised by narcissists. You either are one or you become one. Okay? So, you don't like the fact that I spoke up for myself because of what you did? You violated my rights as a homeowner? Not cool. None of your behavior was cool. I felt like you were hiding something. I'm a pretty open person. But I'm also a very busy person. And during that time, I put aside a couple of that day that he was a no-show. I'm just too busy here. Too busy. And I have no patience for BS. Zero. I'm very targeted. I have a lot of animals to care for. I've got a lot of property to care for. I welcome targeted people to come and visit me. You want to visit for a day. You want to hang out and have a cup of coffee. True targeted people, so we can brainstorm about how we can get our minds around how to combat this stuff. But I do not appreciate people lying. So one thing about me is I'll tell you the truth. You might not like it, but I'm going to tell you the truth every time. And that's exactly what happened. I'm going to read the email that he sent again, so you can see the discrepancies in what he's saying in his video and what he's saying to me. Dear Lorraine, thank you for your exceptional hospitality. Bella and I are taking the advantage of our wakefulness to continue our aimless journey through this grand country. You aren't awake yet. We've been finding it difficult to stay active with the electronic torture your perps have going on here. It's 3 times as bad as we experience in Crescent City. Yesterday, I couldn't even get her to jump in the creek. All she wanted to do was climb back up the hill and take a nap. Even your chickens failed to entice her. As you know, I've already paid $150 for utilities. If I end up owing more, you'll be sure to say so, and I'll settle up with a check in the mail. You are a great host. Jeff. Yes, folks. There's a lot more to the story, but I'm going to end it here. And I'll look forward to your questions and comments, but I will probably not respond to anyone asking me questions about this. Okay? What this individual did, not only about the lawnmower, but with the tying of the RV to asking to tie the RV to my tree, was just bizarre. There were a couple of other things I'm not going to discuss here. It's maybe a little too personal for him. It's not very personal to me. I have no problem talking about it, but I'm just not going to for the purpose of this video. I have discussed it with some people. In fact, I ran across a couple of my male friends thinking, okay, maybe I'm overreacting to his ghosting me. But this is what narcissists do, folks. That's what they do. When you call them out on their BS, they disappear. It's fine with me. I'm still here for my friends. And, guys, it doesn't matter if you're on both channels. I don't care. I unsubscribed to him. I will not be commenting on his videos again. I find him to be abusive, passive-aggressive, reckless, entitled. What are some of the other things? And his perception of his extreme, less than human being treatment is bizarre. Just absolutely bizarre. And I will say it again, it is perp-like. Okay? Perp-like. I'm not saying he's a perp, but it's behaviors and comments that are reminiscent of what a perpetrator would do. And I've got the little bug hanging out here that's driving me crazy. And this is what the criminals put in my house. But anyway, it is at 12:06 a.m. now. I'm going to sign off and send this off to you guys. And I did take down the guinea hen getting crushed on the driveway video for a short period of time. I needed to edit some things. I'm going to be saving that information for another time. And I hope everybody's having a good night. I hope you had a good day today. Just as an FYI, folks, over the next week, it's going to be in the upper 90s here. It's going to be hotter than hell here. So I've got a lot of work to do here, but I will be checking in with you guys. I'll be posting some other videos. I really hope that you loved part 1, 2, and 3 of that lovely gentleman's videos. Everybody's asking me what his name is, and I don't remember. I'm going to say that his last name may have been Banks. I don't know for sure. He lives in New York City, and he actually sued the NYPD. I don't know how it turned out. I think there were a couple of lawsuits. And he also created some really wonderful videos in person on Vimeo, and I can't locate them now because I'm not a member of Vimeo, and it won't allow me to view any of the videos unless I'm a member. But on those videos, he was talking about detoxing and scrubbing the body because there's this film all over targeted people's bodies. It's a film that needs to be scrubbed off. And then he said, after you scrub your body, I mean, he uses baby oil, but I warn you to not use baby oil. It's toxic. Use apricot kernel oil, castor oil, or almond oil on your skin. You could scrub your body in the bathtub with borax, Mule Team Borax, Epsom salt. You can do that, and then coat your body in oil, and it prevents these little black particles that you get on your body. You'll see, like after you scrub it off, you might find it in your bathtub. But anyway, so, for your questions about this guy, how do I contact him? He did provide his contact information. I believe it was part 1 of the video, midway. But I have to tell you that I did contact him a few years ago, and I did not receive a response. Now, I'm not saying he didn't respond. He may have responded, but I never received the response. Or it could be that my mail never got to him. So I'm just saying that that's what happened. I'm not saying that he didn't respond. I'm just saying that I did not receive a response. So, but I love his videos. What a great guy. Love him, love him. And I hope you love the videos too. They're so accurate. And also, if I remember correctly, he has some military background. So he knows his stuff. I don't know if he was a technology person, but he gave that information in his in-person videos on Vimeo. So if anybody can find him there, please let me know. Let me know how to locate him. Maybe he's not there anymore. But anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading signing off for now.